The Kenya Nairobi Mission is definitely a very unique mission, and very different, because when you receive your call, you're going to be called to teach the language or teach the gospel in the English language. That's what I read when I opened my call. And at first I saw, I'm going to Kenya, and I was so excited. And I saw I was going to South Africa MTC. I was so excited. And then it said, you're going to speak English, and I was like, wait, what? I'm speaking English when I'm going to Africa? I don't really understand how that works. And so as I got there, I found out that our mission covers two countries. It's not just Kenya, it's Kenya and Tanzania, which is just south of Kenya. And Kenya and Tanzania is on the east coast of Africa, just underneath the Horn of Africa. And in Kenya, the gospel is preached in English, but in Tanzania, the church and everything is conducted in Swahili. And everyone speaks Swahili. There's very little English spoken by general public as well as by members of the church. And so you teach the gospel in Swahili, you give talks in Swahili, you pray in Swahili, you ask for bread at the shop in Swahili. And so it's kind of a unique mission, because you could spend a year teaching in English, which I did. I spent a year in Kenya teaching in English, and then switched all of a sudden to being in Tanzania for another year, teaching only in Swahili. And so, that it's a unique mission in that it's a split language mission. It's not just English and it's not just Swahili. It's both, depending on where you're at. But it's the mission. The members in Tanzania are just over 1,000. In Kenya, I think it's 3,000, somewhere around there. When I first got there was about 80 missionaries. When the peak of our mission while I was there, we got up to like 116, and then we were supposed to keep growing, but currently there's some problems with visas. The government's not giving visas to a lot of missionaries, and so it's kind of gone down. They've had to close areas and stuff because of a lack of missionaries being able to get into the country. So it kind of fluctuates on the size. It's not very, for two countries, it's not a whole lot of missionaries, but that's because the church is mainly in southern Kenya, in that southern from the west coast to from the west all the way to the east coast, and then in Tanzania it's mostly in northern Tanzania, from west to east coast. And there's one stake in the whole mission. All the rest, there's I think 3 other districts, and then all the rest are branches and stuff off of that. And so it's developing, it's growing. It's not quite there yet, but as time goes on, it's definitely growing. The church is growing quickly in all of Africa, not just in East Africa. But that's kind of the geographic area of where things are. The mission, as the Kenya Nairobi Mission, the way it is now, has been around since 1992, when it split off from the Uganda Kampala Mission, and has been growing since then.